On Nationwide this evening, we meet young people coping with the difficulties of the loss of a loved one, and we hear of a service which provides a listening ear. Plus, we travel to the Banner County for the heartwarming story of a young man whose piano playing inspires all who come to hear him play at Glore in Ennis. Good evening, you're welcome to Nationwide. We begin this evening with the story of a unique facility. The Children's Grief Centre in Limerick is only one of a kind in the country. It offers support to children and teenagers between the ages of 4 and 18 who've suffered loss through divorce, separation or death. But sadly, such is the demand for its services that there is now a waiting list of some 300 children. Marion Malone visited the centre to find out about its plans for expansion so that it can help more children.
Founded in Limerick 12 years ago, the only dedicated children's grief centre in the country offers a professional, compassionate and confidential listening service and is the realisation of the vision of social worker and psychotherapist Sister Helen Culhane.
Here in the Children's Grief Centre, we support children between the ages of 4 and 18 where parents have separated, divorced or bereaved. It's a free service, we don't charge for the service, but people are free to make a donation if they wish. What I find over and over from the young people and the teenagers, that they feel listened to. There's no stigma about coming here, it's not a counselling centre. We simply provide a listening ear.
Grief, first of all, is a normal, natural response to loss. So any young person or child who comes to the centre, we tell them they're not here to be fixed. And grief for each child is going to be different. It's not like grief has a definitive ending, because it doesn't.
Josh Murphy's dad died 4 years ago, but it wasn't until his grandmother passed away from COVID earlier this year that he felt ready to come to the centre.
Every time I come here, I come out and I feel better with myself. It's like an outlet to release whatever sense of emotion or stress or grief or whatever you're feeling. It's just a place to let loose in a sense and let your guards down and just talk freely. I'm just so proud and I feel so privileged to be able to actually go here.
Anne Comerford from Tipperary lost her husband PJ to cancer 10 years ago, leaving her with 3 children aged 13, 11 and 5.
The door is open until they're 18 years of age. So grief isn't something that's boxed off and is dealt with and done and dusted. Grief merges its head at the sideline at a match. Dad is missed. It's the Debs doing the leave-in search. There's different things and Dad is just not there and other dads are there with daughters and children. And from that point of view, they've made the contact. They can go back at any time. And to know that that safety net is there, I think was something that was very important to my children.
Mary Murphy's 3 children were bereft when their grandmother, who lived with them on the family farm during her final illness, passed away.
It made them realise that they can express their feelings, that it's okay to be sad, that it's okay to, I guess, make us sad because they're sad, because that's part of life. And it gave them what I think are lifelong tools, that their feelings are valid, their opinion is valid, and not to be afraid to speak up, that there's always someone who will listen.
The tragic and sudden death of Ireland and Munster rugby legend Anthony Foley in 2016 left his wife Olive and their 2 sons Tony and Dan immersed in grief. She became the centre's ambassador in gratitude for the support they received there.
I was grieving and my children were grieving, and my children were protecting me, so they weren't telling me how they were feeling. I think their most important thing was, don't make mum cry, so don't mention anything about dad to mum. So from coming in here, they have this lovely space and it's safe, and they had Sister Helen that she was just able to listen to them completely impartially, and through that they were able to get a better understanding of what happened to them and what happened to Dad, and get a better understanding of their feelings and prepare them for the rest of their lives, because it's a new life. We'd lost Dad, it was a new life.
Very young children find it difficult to verbalise their emotions, so they're encouraged to express themselves through art and play.
We know that play is natural and normal for children. And through the play, and I find it fascinating, because even, for example, through the Santry, they will go and get figurines and they will start burying the person who has died and talking about the person. Whereas if you sat them down in front of you, they wouldn't be able to do that. And again, I recall now an 8-year-old, and when he finished up, he said to me, I found it nice coming here because, and these were his words, I got my words out.
12-year-old John Roach was left devastated 7 years ago when his 2-year-old baby brother David drowned in an accident at home.
When I was 5, I witnessed the death of my brother, and for that I felt lost. And then I found this place, and Helen helped me to cope with my emotions. It helped me be able to think back on it.
Perfect.
Like, I was able to now think about it without falling into tears, to be able to cope, get me back up on my feet and be able to live life again. She works miracles.
But children's grief does not solely result from the death of a loved one. Half of those who avail of the centre's services are struggling to cope after their parents separate or divorce.
You know, there's lots of rituals and traditions around bereavement when somebody dies. We see lots of children and parents here the parents have separated. There's no support for parents who have separated, and there's no support for children. And that is devastating. When parents separate, that is devastating for a child. It is grief as well.
Catherine Hunka and her 2 sons found healing solace at the centre following her separation from her husband.
Separation is a form of bereavement. When a couple decide that it's better for them to go their own ways, there's a lot of loss and a lot of hopes and dreams that have to be put aside. And so it's, of course, a terrifically difficult time. And the children are very much a part of that, of course. So they gave my boys, who were 8 and 10 at the time, a place where they could say everything that they needed to say. And I think we forget sometimes as parents that children try to protect us. And they're very worried about how we're feeling and how we're doing. And they don't want to say things that might make the situation worse. So there's a place where they can say absolutely anything at all. That's gold, I think. There's an incredible warmth and love in the air. And Sister Helen exudes that. She's so positive, and you feel like you're coming into another place where you're entirely welcome, another home. It's lovely.
A team of trained part-time volunteer support workers and 1 full-time support worker, all with diverse experience in education, nursing, social work and psychotherapy, help the children work through their feelings.
Our centre is volunteer-led, and the support workers work with the children on a one-to-one. And all of our volunteers come from a professional background, and we're very exact about that. They're all GARDA vetted, and our board of management is all volunteer-led. We have a fundraising committee which is all volunteer-led. So we wouldn't be able to survive without our volunteers.
Ita Hannon's background is in nursing, running a play school and psychotherapy. She lost her own parents tragically at the age of 10, but had no such support. She vividly recalls one little girl creating a beautiful love heart from clay.
And then she broke it. And, you know, so much healing would have happened in that one event. She was able to acknowledge her little heart was broken. The best thing you can give to a child is your undivided attention. The children need to be heard.
Children come to the centre from all over the Midwest and much further afield, but sadly there are more than 250 children waiting to avail of its vital services. Helen's Mercy Sisters have kindly gifted a much larger building nearby, but it needs extensive renovation.
We now have a very long waiting list, which is very heartbreaking to see. The reason for this waiting list is we don't have the space in this building. We've outgrown it. So the new building will offer more rooms to facilitate more volunteers, to help with more children, and to get that, we need to reduce the waiting list for the children.
€3.3 million is required to achieve the child-centric design of what they call their dream build. The JP McManus Pro-Am Fund has made a significant donation, as has the Tomar Foundation in Cork, but much more needs to be raised.
As you can appreciate, we have a massive challenge ahead to meet the balance. So I'm hoping that the people of Ireland will come behind us and help us to fund the remainder.
All of us here, the staff, the volunteers, the board of management, it's, we share a passion and a vision for supporting young people who are grieving. And one parent said it here, she said, when you comes into the centre, it's like being wrapped in a warm blanket on a cold day.
I just feel that it's so much needed, and I don't think anybody should have to wait to deal with grief.